Guild Wars 2 has always had a huge issue making groups. If you go into the LFG, go to Strikes, you're not gonna see a lot of groups. If you go to Rage, you're not gonna see a lot of groups. These are all just selling. If you go to Fractals, you will see some in Tier 4s, but in Tier 1s, Tier 2s, and Tier 3s, it's gonna be very, very hard. And this is horrible because it makes the game look like it's dead, that nobody's playing it. Even though the game has been growing steadily, specifically in this year of 2025. Instead, people go to Discords to form groups, like Skangang or Hardstock, the Guild Wars 2 Raid Academy, and so many more. This is why the new quick play for Initiate Scales 1 to 25 Fractals is so impactful. Not only for what it means to Fractals, but also what it may mean for Raid Strikes and who knows who else. So let's talk about the potential that this feature has, the problems that it might encounter, and the problems that it already encountered this week. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning, and let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about the good things. It's very, very nice to just click one button and instantly go into a queue as a new player or a person who has never tried this content before and just play the game. You don't have to worry about who is doing each boon. Just go in and boom, you're done. You just go and you can just do this from any other map. It also has a lot of cool quality of life with this new fractal with waypoints, as you can see right here, that you didn't used to be able to use, and the Mistranger who does mechanics and sometimes revives you in case that you have failed on tier 1's fractals. This didn't used to be the case. Now it still has issues. For example, the fractals just repeat over and over again. Sometimes you get the same fractal 3 times in a row, which is very, very annoying. I really hope that there's some sort of fix for this, so you get a little bit more, you know, not real randomness, but like fair randomness, you know what I mean? If someone leaves your party, you can't requeue, which is super annoying. If someone leaves the party, they also don't get any sort of penalization from leaving the group by themselves. And I really hope that there was a little bit like a, I wouldn't say if it's a mark, but like a little bit of penalization of like 5 minutes of not being able to queue back in if you leave a group for no reason at all. Especially because people are going into the quick play, seeing that they don't get the fractal that they need, even though they could just list it themselves, not in quick play, just tier 1 X fractal, and people would join, and they just, you know, leave. And then the rest of the group is just sad that now they're gonna have to do the entire fractal with 4 people. It's just very, very annoying. I also think these quick play fractals right now are rewarding, but only right now. Once the beta is out, once the event is out, it's not really gonna be worth it doing quick play. And even as a veteran that does tier 4s, that does CMs, I would kind of enjoy actually going and doing quick play every day. Right now, what the veterans do is that they do every CM, which is like 4 or 5 if you do all of them, which takes a long time. Then they do the tier 4s, the daily tier 4s, and then they do the recommended. I really think that quick play could be the new recommended. Instead of saying you have to do this 3 random fractals, what if you just do 3 quick plays? And you just go and do them yourself, and they give you a lot of reward. Maybe you don't even do this with the people you do the tier 4s with. You just go in there quick play by yourself, or maybe you do it and queue it with 5 people. It doesn't really matter. And I wish that they make the CMs a bit less long and they give like a special daily for CM, so you only have to do 1 or 2. But that's for another topic, for another day. Now there's one more thing that I think it's very important to consider. Should tier 1s have roles? Should it have someone who does quickness and someone who does alacrity and the rest DPS? This is the way that in the entirety of PvE, even in open world honestly, and metas, organizes itself. So why shouldn't you have that in tier 1 quick play? Well, it's not really necessary, right? That's the reality. You can do this without any of these moons. But it's also important to know that it is more fun to play with quickness and alacrity because you're accustomed to it. If you don't have it, it feels like you're playing in a slow manner, and it sets up the expectation from new players to search for quickness, to search for alacrity, to know that these are the 3 roles that we have. And even if it's not necessary, it would be kind of nice to have a little bit of a nudge into that direction so people understand the way that the game plays. And I understand what you're going to say. You hate quickness. You hate alacrity. It shouldn't be 100% of the time. And I completely agree. But the reality is that that's the game we're playing, and that's the game that we're gonna play for the rest of the lifespan of this game. We're not going back from this. This is the way it is, and you know, until they actually change it, this is the way that it should be presented to new players so they don't get confused. At the same time, I think maybe quick play shouldn't have those roles because it should just be something chill that you don't care about. But if we put quick play for tier 2s and maybe even for tier 3s, I do think it should be implemented. Maybe tier 1s, no roles, but as soon as you get into tier 2s, as soon as you get into tier 3s, I think it should have this. And you can make it exactly as you do in World of Warcraft, for example. You click quick play, for example, and it says, hey, are you a DPS, are you a boon DPS, or are you a boon healer? And you just pick the one that it is. And then you can say alacrity or quickness. And then the game, the LFG, the queuer, just goes and picks you up, puts you in the place that you need to be at. Now, should this exist for tier 4s? I would say that no. I don't think quick play should be on tier 4s. Tier 4s are pretty complicated. There's not really any reason to have this on tier 4s, especially CMs. You can just advertise a group, tell people what you're gonna do, and make it work this way. Fractals, honestly, are the best LFG that exists in Guild Wars 2 compared to raids and strikes that don't really work very well. So I think there's no reason to meddle with something that you shouldn't have to meddle with. If it works, let it keep working. For strikes, though, oh yes, they should absolutely put this in. Strikes are so easy. You just go in with the roles that they're assigned to you, and you can just blast them, even as a new player. It's really not hard. They're such good gold, they're daily, they're fun, they're fast, like, it's such the perfect place to just put quick play, let new players go into this content, and who knows, maybe they do some of the CMs that some of them are not very hard, and some of them are hard, but they can get the little nudge to start getting into this content. Absolutely great. Sometimes you don't want to go in there and make a group and say, who is the quickness, who is the alacrity, and then someone leaves, and then you have to go in and be like, okay, who left, was it the quickness, was it the alacrity? What if the system itself does it? That would be so much better. And let's be real, guys, a lot of the time you want to do a strike, but you don't want to command it, and there's no one in the LFG, so you just give up because you don't want to deal with it. This would completely save the situation. Well, Darrens, what about raids? Raids are a bit more complicated, because in raids there are particular sets of mechanics that only one person can do it, and they're only specific to that fight. Yeah, sure, you have your heal, yeah, sure, you have your boon DPS and you have your DPS, but what if there's, well, a kiter? What if there's a tank? What if there's a cannon, like in Wing 1? Like, all these mechanics, you are gonna have to deal with it, and you're gonna have to assign it to someone. If you have quick play, this cannot be done, because now these players, like, who are you gonna assign this to if all they're new players and there's no one that can do it? And then the quick play becomes, oh, we're gonna wipe to this boss over and over again play. There is one solution to this. It was not my idea. It was Teapot's idea. I was talking to him, and I thought it was very, very good. And it is that, what if the Mistranger that does some mechanics in Fractals, that revives you in Fractals, does this mechanics for you in this raid? It does the cannons for you in Sabatha. It does the tanking in Belgarian. It does the towers on Escort on Wing 3. It does the kiting in Wing 4 Demos. All these things could just be coded by this NPC that essentially ignores the mechanic, and the rest of the group just does the easy mechanics. Essentially making, well, what can I say here, guys? Easy mode for Guild Wars 2. Looking for group from World of Warcraft, but in this game. Dude, guys, WoW has stolen enough from Guild Wars 2. Now it's our time to steal this idea, because it's a great one. Like, the raids in Guild Wars 2 are great. There should never be the case that this is the LFG on it. It should just never exist. It should never happen. And considering that we're gonna get a strike and raid rework this year with the new expansion, just a few months after, it would be perfect for you to pair it with a quick play for raids and strikes, for us to have an insanely good event where we have new strikes or raids or whatever they're gonna probably rename it, and we're just all going to quick play and do it together. Oh my god, yes, yes, this is perfect. This is what we need. After 10 plus years, Guild Wars 2 finally has realized that looking for a group, automatic matchmaking is a great idea for your game. Yes, thank you. And I'm sure we're gonna encounter a lot of issues with this. As always, new features will have this, but I think it could be one of the best, if not the best feature we will ever get in this game for the future and health of this game. Even if there's not more content, doesn't matter. People can just play with each other, this great content that they really love, and you have so much variety in this game. So yes, and there probably will be more strikes every expansion anyway, so it'll work out very, very well for it. Let me know what you guys think though. Let me know if there's any things that you think wouldn't work, any things that you would want from Quick Play right now. I'm sure that ArenaNet will be, you know, look, some ArenaNet guys, you know, they like me, okay? They'll read the comments, okay? And then they can get inspired by your stuff. And who knows, maybe they agree and they put it in the game. It's always good to talk about these things. And if not, if they don't read it, I'll make them read it by making another huge video about it. But let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. See you guys around. Love you all. Ciao, ciao.